On Wednesday, August 23rd, fate befell Yevgeny Prigozhin. In Russia, all 10 occupants of a private jet died in a crash. Russian authorities say. The Russian Civil Aviation Service reports that Wagner leader Yevgeny Prigozhin is on the passenger list. It's clear he was actually on board the plane yet, which crashed north of Moscow. Can you imagine if Yevgeny Prigozhin was silenced by Moscow? Is this an act of revenge by Putin for Wagner's rebellion against the Russian regime? Russian President Putin called the action high treason. Or did the Ukrainians have a stake in this fatal fate? In this video, we'll tell you all the details. According to the Russian Civil Aviation Service, the aircraft was en route from Moscow to St. Petersburg. There were reportedly 3 crew members and 7 passengers on board. The plane reportedly crashed near the village of Kusenkino, some 350 kilometers northwest of Moscow. According to unconfirmed reports, Prigozhin's right-hand man and Wagner's namesake, Dmitry Yudkin, was also on board the plane. Prigozhin and his associates reportedly attended a meeting of the Russian Defense Ministry. The bodies of 8 people have been found, Russian news agency RIA reported, on the basis of emergency services. The identity of those victims is not known. The plane reportedly caught fire when it hit the ground. In the heart of modern Russia, a figure of shadow and intrigue emerged onto the world stage, captivating both public curiosity and fear. His name was Yevgeny Prigozhin, a man who managed to straddle the line between legitimate entrepreneur and enigmatic power broker. His story weaved a tapestry of fame, fear, and clandestine operations that would grip the world's attention. Yevgeny Prigozhin was born into obscurity, his early life shrouded in mystery. Little is known about his upbringing and education, but his ascent to notoriety began with his involvement in the catering industry. He established a catering business that soon caught the attention of prominent figures within the Russian establishment. This initial venture proved to be just the tip of the iceberg, as Prigozhin's ambitions began to extend far beyond the realm of food service. Prigozhin's fame and infamy skyrocketed due to his association with the Wagner Group, a private military company named after the German composer Richard Wagner. The Wagner Group, often referred to as a shadow army, became synonymous with covert operations and alleged ties to the Russian government. Despite official denials, there was widespread belief that the group operated with the blessing and support of the Kremlin. The Wagner Group is a name that has become synonymous with mystery, covert operations, and alleged ties to the Russian government. It is often referred to as a private military company, PMC, or a paramilitary organization, and it has gained significant attention due to its involvement in various conflicts and international affairs. The Wagner Group's origins and structure remain shrouded in secrecy, adding to its mystique. It is believed that the group was founded by Dmitry Yudkin, a former Russian Special Forces officer, and was named after the German composer Richard Wagner. The choice of the name Wagner may have been an attempt to create an air of cultural and historical significance, but the true motivations remain speculative. The group has been reported to be involved in a range of activities, including providing military personnel for combat operations in conflict zones, often acting as mercenaries. Some of the well-known instances of their alleged involvement include Ukraine conflict. The Wagner Group is suspected of being active in the conflict in eastern Ukraine, where it's been accused of supporting pro-Russian separatist forces. Its involvement in the annexation of Crimea and the fighting in Donbas has fueled speculation about its connections to the Russian government. Syrian civil war. The group has reportedly been active in Syria, where it supported the Assad regime in various capacities, including combat roles and security tasks. Wagner Group fighters have been linked to engagements against rebel forces and other opposition groups. African operations. The Wagner Group has been reported to operate in Africa as well, engaging in security and military activities in countries like Sudan and Libya. These actions have raised concerns about their impact on local conflicts and stability. It's known that Wagner Group is responsible for a lot of committed crimes. If you Google, you will find a lot of information about the following. Involvement in conflicts. The Wagner Group has been accused of participating in conflicts in Ukraine, Syria, Libya, and other regions. In Ukraine, for instance, they are alleged to have supported pro-Russian separatist forces in the eastern Donbas region. Their involvement has led to casualties and destabilization in these areas. Wherever they come, they leave death and pain. Human rights abuses. The group has been accused of committing human rights abuses in various conflict zones. Reports suggest that they've been involved in instances of torture, abuse, and extrajudicial killings. These alleged actions have sparked international condemnation and concern. Influence operations and disinformation. Beyond their military involvement, the Wagner Group has been linked to influence operations and disinformation campaigns. This includes alleged attempts to manipulate social media and public opinion to serve certain interests. One of the most notable instances was their alleged involvement in the Internet Research Agency, a troll farm implicated in spreading disinformation during the 2016 United States presidential election. Despite its activities being widely reported, the Russian government has consistently denied any formal connection to the Wagner Group. However, the group's alleged involvement in various high-profile conflicts, along with the backgrounds of its members, who are often former military or law enforcement personnel, has led many experts and observers to speculate that it operates with at least some level of tacit approval or support from Russian authorities. Can you believe that Russia is denying, while it is so clear? As has been widely reported in the news, that Prigozhin has always been very critical of the Russian army and its supply of its troops, until he and his troops rebelled and advanced toward Moscow in late June 2024. In the midst of Prigozhin's rise to power, Russia found itself in the throes of political turmoil, frustrations with perceived corruption, lack of political freedoms, and economic challenges, culminated in a massive riot against the Russian government. Protests erupted across the nation demanding accountability, transparency, and democratic reforms. While not directly linked to Prigozhin, these events created a backdrop of uncertainty that would shape his actions and the international perception of his influence. But now Prigozhin's life has come to an end. But was it an accident? Did the Russians silence him, or did the Ukrainians take revenge on this cruel man? Before we answer that question, please hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. As Prigozhin's notoriety continued to grow, tragedy struck in the form of an ill-fated plane crash. Reports began to emerge of a private jet linked to Prigozhin crashing under mysterious circumstances. The details were scarce and often conflicting, with some sources claiming that it was a simple accident, while others suggested foul play. The crash sent shockwaves throughout the world, prompting speculation about whether this was an attempt to silence or eliminate a man who had amassed enemies on a global scale. A Telegram channel linked to the Wagner Group reports that the aircraft was shot out of the sky by Russian air defense, but this has not been confirmed. The channel also writes that Prigozhin's death has not been confirmed. Another Telegram channel, which is closer to the Kremlin, reports that Prigozhin boarded a second plane, which is said to have not yet landed. Images allegedly showing the burning aircraft are being shared on social media. It's unclear who took the images. It's quite possible that the Russians shot him. Putin has hated Prigozhin from the bottom of his heart since his uprising and could very well have ordered his death. Can you believe that? However, it also does not seem illogical that the Ukrainians did it. The atrocities that the Wagner army led by Prigozhin carried out in Russia are unprecedented and too horrible for words. If Ukraine is behind it, and if Zelensky gave the order, we will probably never know. Ukraine is not claiming any attack on Russian territory to date. Yevgeny Prigozhin's legacy remains a complex and divisive topic. To some, he's a symbol of ruthless ambition, leveraging power and influence for personal gain at the expense of stability and security. To others, he's a shrewd businessman who navigated the complex web of Russian politics to carve out a niche for himself and his ventures. The Wagner Group's actions continue to be a subject of intrigue, raising questions about the balance between state-sponsored operations and private enterprise in the realm of international conflict. In the end, the story of Yevgeny Prigozhin and the Wagner Group is one that underscores the blurred lines between business, politics, and covert operations in the modern world. It serves as a cautionary tale of how individuals and entities can shape global events through a combination of ambition, influence, and secrecy. As the world watches, the legacy of Prigozhin and the shadow operations of the Wagner Group continue to unfold, reminding us that truth and deception are often intertwined in the realm of power. What do you think after watching this video? How do you think Prigozhin died? Was it a fatal accident, an attack, or was there another reason behind it? We're curious to hear your reactions. Leave your reaction in the comments and subscribe for upcoming videos.